What do you do to get good fiscal policy? Well, here's the frustrating thing. You already have a spending cap in your state constitution. That's the good news. The bad news is the spending cap is set too high. Now, let's do an analogy. Is it good to have a speed limit in a school zone when children are crossing the street? Yeah. Should that speed limit be 75 miles an hour? That sort of defeats the whole purpose. Now, Hawaii's spending cap isn't quite 75 miles an hour, but it is set to the growth of state income. But that's actually not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is routinely state politicians, because in the Constitution you can waive it with a 2/3 vote, and they routinely waive it. So it's sort of like saying, oh yeah, we have that 75-mile-an-hour speed limit, the kids are crossing the street, but we're going to put like we're going to cover up the signs and have a no penalty phase for speeding cars. So you have a spending cap, it's set too high, and you routinely waive even that very high spending cap. That's not the right approach. So what do? Do you somehow elect honest, well-intentioned lawmakers? We'd like to do that in D.C. We've never figured out how to do it. Do you have constitutional limits on the role of government? Well, we actually have that in Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution, but Congress ignores that as well. Do you have balanced budget rules? I like balanced budgets, but let me say something about, let me skip ahead. I want to say something about debt, and I'll sort of wrap up on this. I don't like government debt, but the main thing to understand is that debt is simply a symptom of too much government spending. If I go to the doctor because I have a headache, and the doctor does like those MRIs or CAT scans and tells me I have a brain tumor, is my problem headaches? No, my problem is the brain tumor. The headaches are a symptom of the problem. And let me show you why balanced budget, well, first of all, balanced budget rules don't work. We have balanced budget constitutional provisions in California, New Jersey, Illinois, states like that. You have anti-deficit rules in places like France, Spain, and Italy. None of that stops the big spenders from taxing and spending their states or countries into a whole. But let me show you this. This is the federal government's revenue on a year-to-year basis. When the economy is growing, politicians spend money hand over fist. When the economy is in a recession and revenues fall, if there was a balanced budget requirement, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to raise taxes. They're not going to cut spending. Cut spending in a recession when people are hurting? We can't do that. Our job is to play Santa Claus. So when you have a balanced budget requirement, what you are telling politicians in places like California, Illinois, is that they have to raise taxes. That's why Hawaii has the right theory, a spending cap, but you have the wrong execution. The Colorado's Taxpayer Bill of Rights, their spending cap is much better. It is set at population plus inflation. And 9 out of 10 years, population plus inflation is lower than what's happening to gross state income. Not only that, but it's very difficult for Colorado politicians to try to increase the spending cap by increasing revenue. Why? Because you have to have a vote of the people to raise taxes. So I've mostly given you depressing information here today. But there is a solution. You have the framework of a good idea in your Constitution. You just have the wrong design and execution. Copy Colorado.